I'm going to tell you a story, but the first thing you have to understand is time doesn't work the way you think it does. You can call me Oracle because I'm the one that's talking to you. Welcome to the cult. Alrighty. Kama Sutra. We are on to part 2. Chapter 1. Kinds of sexual union according to dimensions, force of desire, or passion and time. Kinds of union. Man is divided into 3 classes. The hairman, the bullman, and the horseman, according to the size of his lingam. Woman also, according to the depth of her yoni, is either a female deer, a mare, or an elephant, female elephant. There are thus 3 unions between persons corresponding to of corresponding dimensions, and there are 6 unequal unions when the dimensions do not correspond, or 9 in all. There's a table for it. You get the idea. In these unequal unions, when the male exceeds the female in point of size, his union with a woman who is immediately next to him in size is called a high union, and is of 2 kinds. While his union with a woman most remote from him in size is called of the highest union, and is one kind only. On the other hand, when the female exceeds the male in point of size, her union with the man immediately next to her is in size is called a low union and is of 2 kinds, while her union with the man most remote from her in size is called a lowest union and is of one kind only. Judging from women I've known who have talked to me about like the size of their dudes at the time, I had a friend who was very expressive. Um, yeah, I'm not so sure I buy this. I could be wrong, but in other words, the horse and mare, and then the bull and deer, form the high union, and while the horse and deer form the highest union. On the female side, the elephant and bull, the mare and hare, form low unions, and the elephant and hare make the lowest unions. There are then 9 kinds of union according to dimensions. Amongst all these, equal unions are the best, those of superlative degree, i.e. the highest and lowest are the worst, and the rest are middling with then the high are the better than the low. There are also 9 kinds of union according to the force of passion or carnal desire, small, middling, and intense. There are 9 correspondences, similar to what we just talked about there. A man is called of small passion whose desire at the time of sexual union is not great, whose semen is scanty, and who cannot bear the warm embrace of the female. Those who differ from this temperament are called men of middling passion, while those of intense passion are full of desire. In the same way, women are supposed to have 3 degrees of feeling as specified above. Lastly, according to time, there are 3 kinds of men and women: these short time, the moderate time, and the long time. And of these, in the previous statement, there are 9 kinds of union. But on this last head, there is a different opinion about the female, which should be stated. Females do not admit as Adalika says, females do not admit as males do. The males simply remove their desire, while females, from their consciousness of desire, feel a certain kind of pleasure which gives them satisfaction, but it's impossible for them to tell you what kind of pleasure they feel. Depends on one, I'd say. The fact which this becomes evident is that males, when engaged in coition, cease of themselves after emission and are satisfied, but it is not so with females. Well, again, it depends. Actually, they can technically literally go forever, so that kind of makes sense. The opinion, however, is objective to go on the grounds that if a male be long time, that the female loves him more, but if he be short time, she is dissatisfied with him. And the circumstance, some say, would prove that the female admits also. I mean, some women ejaculate; it's a thing. They just do. But this this opinion does not hold good, for it takes a long time to allay a woman's desire, and during this time she is enjoying great pleasure. It is quite natural then that she should wish for its continuation, and on the subject there is a verse as follows. By union with men, the lust, desire, or passion when is satisfied, and the pleasure derived from the consciousness of it is called their satisfaction. The followers of Bhapravya, however, say that the semen of women continues to fall from the beginning of the sexual union to its end, and it is right that it should be so, for if they had no semen, there would be no embryo. Well, that's not exactly scientifically correct. Not all women actually ejaculate, but that's like neither here nor there. To this degree, there's an objection. The beginning of the coition if the passion of the woman is middling, and she cannot bear the vigorous thrust of her lover, but by the degrees of passion increase until she ceases to think about her body, and she finally wishes to stop from further coition. This objection, however, does not hold good, for even in ordinary things that revolve with great force, such as a potter's wheel or a top, we find that the emotion at first is slow, but by degrees it becomes very rapid. In the same way, the passion of the woman having gradually increased, she has a desire to discontinue coition when all the semen has fallen away. And there is a verse with regard to that as follows. The fall of the semen man takes place only at the end of coition, while the semen of the woman falls continuously, and after the semen of both has all fallen away, they wish for the discontinuation of coition. Lastly, Vatsayana is of the opinion that the semen of the female falls in the same way that of the male. One may ask here, if men and women are beings of the same kind and are engaged in bringing about the same result, why would they have different works to do so? Vatsia says that this is so because the ways of working as well as the consciousness of pleasure in men and women are different. The difference in the ways of working, by which men are the action and women are the persons acted upon, is owing the nature of the male and the female. Otherwise, the actor would be sometimes the person acted upon, and vice versa. And from this difference in the ways of working follows the difference in the consciousness of pleasure. For a man thinks this woman is united with me, and a woman thinks I'm united with this man. Yeah, I think that's actually like really situational independent. It may be said that if the working men and women are different, why should there not be a difference even in the pleasure they feel, which is the result of those ways? But this objection is groundless, for the person acting and the person acted upon being of different kinds. There is a reason for the difference in their ways of working, but there is no reason for any difference of the pleasure they feel, because they both naturally derive pleasure from the act they perform. On this again, some may say that the different persons are engaged in doing the same work, but we find they accomplish the same end or purpose. While on the contrary, in the case of men and women, we find that each of them accomplishes his or her own end separately, and this is inconsistent. But this is a mistake, before we find that two things are done at the same time. As for the instance of fighting rams, both rams receive the shock at the same time in their heads. Again, in throwing one wood apple against another, and also in a fighter struggle with wrestlers, it is said that in these cases, the things employed are the same kind, as answered, they even the same kind of men and women. The nature of two persons is the same. And as the difference in their ways of working arises from the difference of conformation only, it follows that men experience the same kind of pleasure as women do. There is also a verse on the subject as follows. Men and women being of the same nature feel the same kind of pleasure, and therefore a man should marry such a woman as will love him ever afterwards. But I agree with that. The pleasure of men and women thus being proved to be of the same kind, it follows that in regard to time, there are 9 kinds of sexual intercourse, in the same way as there are 9 kinds according to the force of passion. Thus 9 kinds of union with regard to dimension, force of passion, and time, respectively. By making combination of them, innumerable kinds of union would be produced. I think it's about 127. Therefore, in each kind of sexual union, men should use such means as they think suitable for the occasion. At the first time, well, I think that's occasional, like that's what you should do anyway. But at the first time of sexual union, the passion of the male is intense and the time is short. But in subsequent unions on the same day, the reverse is of the case. With the female, or it's the contrary. Whereas the first time her passion is weak, and then her time long. But on subsequent occasions on the same day, their passion is intense, her time short, until the passion is satisfied. I'm not sure how I feel on that. All right, on the different kinds of love. Men learned in the humanities are of the opinion that love is of 4 kinds. 1. Love acquired by continual habit. 2. Love resulting from the imagination. 3. Love resulting from belief. 4. Love resulting from the perception of external objects. 1. Love resulting from constant and continual performance of some act is called love acquired by constant practice and habit, as for instance the love of sexual intercourse, the love of hunting, the love of drinking, the love of gambling, etc., etc. 2. Love which is felt for things which to which we are not habituated, and which proceeds entirely from ideas, is called love resulting from imagination. As from instance, that love from which some men and women and eunuchs feel for the aparishtaka or mouth congress, and that which is felt by all for such things as embracing, kissing, etc. 3. The love which is mutual on both sides and proven to be true, which looks upon others as his or her very own, such as love resulting from belief by the learned. And love resulting from the perception of external objects is quite evident and well known to the world, because the pleasure which it affords is superior to the pleasure of other kinds of love which exists only for its sake. What has been said in the chapter upon the subject of sexual union is sufficient for learned, but for the edification of the ignorant, the same will now be treated at length and in detail. And this is Oracle. I'm gonna sing myself out. Dream safely, love safely, dance safely, peace out.